Bird, 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 bird. Get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. Yeah! Ron Babe was right. Ron Babe was right.
I'm feeling spry. Oh, well, I have to apologize. This one's going to be short. I know. Yeah, right, Ron. Yeah, I got a cold from one of the grandkids, or at least that's what I think I got it from, because one of them had a cold last week. And it started going to my head, and then it went down to my throat. Now it's in my lungs, and now I went to the Med First Center this morning, and I'd love to be in a better mood when I do these intros because, I love to go on, but I just can't go on. But I am going to give you an update. I mean, the title sponsor of this show is Onyx Hunt. But what you don't know is I'm in a new recording studio. That's right. And we call this the Watermark Brewing Company studio now. Right. Honestly, it's the same studio I've always had, but we call it the Watermark Brewing Company out of Stevensville, Michigan, because they are supplying this podcast with the great beers from Watermark Brewery. Yeah. I got my kegerator coming in tomorrow between noon and 2 o'clock. I get that offloaded with the forks, and once I get that installed, I am going to be in the business. I am going to be Watermark North. So thank you to Justin and all the crew down at Watermark Brewery in Stevensville, Michigan. If you are ever driving through Indiana, up into Michigan, from Michigan, down to Indiana, down to Illinois, up and around the curve, wherever you go, summertime, fall time, you got to check out Watermark Brewery. It's the bar. It's the feel. People who, you can go to some places that are great breweries, but you don't feel it. Like we got two of them in Muskegon here. Yeah, beer's good, but the feel isn't there. You got to go see Watermark Brewery. Back with the show. Gunner Kennels, you don't need to see Gunner Kennel. You've seen them. You know what they look like. You know they're guaranteed for life. You know they make the best over-engineered, bulletproof, lifetime products you could ever get for your dog. You know that. You can go to W Supply, and you can get your Garmin products from there with lightning fast response, lightning fast support. What else could be lightning fast? They'll even ship it lightning fast. They have a special shipping with FedEx. It's called the Lightning Fast. So you want to go to W when you get your Garmin. And I know you're like, Ron, I don't have a Garmin. Well, you can go to W's website. And you'll find something else you need. But the most important thing is having the right thing around your dog's neck for peace of mind, for training, and that is a Garmin collar. In my particular choice, I'm still kind of old school. I like all the gadgetry and stuff, but I never could figure it out real well. That's why the 550 Plus is my go-to. And the more people I run into, it seems to be the case. It does. Canine Athlete, Wilderness Athlete, they supplied everything we could. In fact, we brought a whole bunch of stuff out to South Dakota and gave away Hydrate and Recover and New Dog and Canine Pro. And of course, everybody dives into my supply of Wilderness Athlete. Like I'm drinking one right now. Now, normally I'd be drinking a beer, but like I said, I'm a little sick and I went to the Med First this morning at 8 o'clock. I was the first one in there. So you can hear that ice in there. That's in my mug. Hang on a second. I'm just having some Hydrate right now. But anyway, you want to go to Canine Athlete for your dog, Wilderness Athlete for you, and Mossberg for your next shotgun. I shot that 940A. I shot it well. I will tell you, the 940A, if you're a waterfowler, you gotta try it out. If you're gonna walk in the uplands with it, yeah, I might go back to my SA20, or just carry one of my old fine double guns. But in the meantime, look at Mossberg's lineup. They have everything you need. Just like Boss has every shell you could need, from the legacy non-tox, copper-plated bismuth, to the War Chief, to the steel. Yes, they have steel. I know, I'm embarrassed. When I was interviewing Brandon and Aaron last week, and he mentioned the Steel Reserve, I was like, apparently it would have helped if I would have, done a little research. One of my favorite sponsors, Boss Ammo, they have a Steel Reserve, copper plated, albeit though, because that is the ticket. That is the key. That's why they're Boss. They could plate anything in copper. So yeah, look at their copper-plated Steel Reserve, the War Chief. And if you really want to go out on a limb, and I mean walk to the bank, ATM, and go over and buy something, you can get their tungsten Boss Tom. And I'll tell you what, my buddy Dave Dean, he was just over here the other day. He was showing me a steelhead that he caught up by Taylor Bridge, and he goes to Boss, and he bought tungsten. They let him buy it from him. So he loads his own tungsten up there. And so there's that option. Or just look at, and they got it in every gauge, every weight, everything. I don't know what else to tell you about Boss that you don't already know. I don't know what to tell you about Purina that you don't already know. It's the #1 food in this country, on the globe. It's the oldest dog food company. It's got the most research, the most scientists, it's got everything. It's got everything, and they put money back to the dogs and to conservation. They don't just sit on it, okay? They reinvest it. That's what they do. They reinvest it in you, your dog, habitat, everything that you need. That's what they do. Walton's is going to be, I believe Walton's is going to be at Pheasant Fest this coming year. Now, I'll be there. It's in Kansas City. And a couple years ago, Walton's came in, and Jonathan came in there with the crew, and they had meat sticks and you name it. Now, last year they came in and had just a little booth, but I bet you want to see what Walton's is all about. Come to Kansas City Pheasant Fest next year. I guarantee they're going to have the full Monty on. And until then, I would just get their catalog. And remember, HTP 10 for Walton's for 10% off. Canine Athlete for 25% off your first purchase. And Marshwear, which I didn't even go into yet. They got the fall lineup. I got to do some Instagram pictures. I'm going to look like one of those Insta models, except I won't be wearing a midriff. They just sent me a whole box full of fall wear. Oh, I'm telling you what. And their promo code is HTP15 for 15% off Marshwear. Oh, I apologize. I just talked to Jack from Arxis. I always say Jack from Gumleaf. I shouldn't say that. Jack from Arxis, even though he's still got a few pair of Gumleaf left. He just put me in touch with the one of the owners of Arxis, and he's a waterfowl hunter in Europe, and we're going to come on it hopefully this month. Going to get a show put together with Robin from Arxis, and we'll get a deep dive into that boot. I had to pause again. My God, I apologize. Yeah, what am I going to do? Apologize my ass off? Hey, I had to get the intro done. I can't change my voice. I can't stop coughing, and I can't stop bragging about my four-wheel camper. Really. I was at the, where was I? Oh, I was at jiu-jitsu the other day, and a guy actually pulled in when he saw me going into, it's in a big parking lot. He saw me when I was pulling out, and he pulled in, and he waved at me. I thought, oh, did I leave? I must have left the back door open. And he said, do you mind if I take a peek at that? And I said, oh, of course, that's what I do. They put that on the back of my truck so I could show people. And I opened it up. I showed him the king-size bed on top. I didn't pop the top up. That takes a couple of minutes, but that's all it takes. Showed him the custom-built kennels and how I got my gunner kennels mounted on top of them. And I think I just sold four-wheel camper Model M. At least I sold one for him this week. If you want to be a traveling wing shooter, I cannot tell you that you could find something more suited for you and your dogs than a four-wheel camper. Just like rubber boots would be Arxis, and you got to have your sport wear, right? You got to have your marsh wear, and you should have something from Walton's. You might not always have that on a hunting trip. You're going to have your pro plan in your in your Gunner Kennel food tray. That's hard to say. And of course, you're going to have a Mossberg shotgun stuffed on the side, and you're going to have a money bag full of Boss shot shells. You're going to have your Canine Athlete up in the dog food mix bowl, and then you're going to have your Wilderness Athlete in the little arm console like I do, and your Garmin collar is going to be charging on your solar battery in the back of your Model M like mine are, and you're going to not have to call W Supply unless you need something in a hurry or you need help. Other than that, you can't really take that on the road with you. Gunner Kennel's already in there. Onyx is on my dashboard, so Onyx is there completely all the time. I know this is rambling. I know I don't make any sense. I'm sick. I do want to tell you, the Film Fest. I see it on Instagram, and I know it kind of looks like it's. In fact, they had a nice one-page ad in Gundog magazine, and so pay attention. If you're that person who likes to film, you can try it. I mean, there's amateur class, there's professional class, there's even a youth class, and that Film Fest is going to be held in Kansas City during Pheasant Fest. It's going to be a hoot. I cannot wait for that to be, and I do not have anything to do with it other than the similarity of the names, Hunting Dog Film Fest and the Hunting Dog Podcast. But I was asked to MC it, so that ought to be fun. I'm going to see if I can get a couple more people to come up and MC it with. I have an idea. I have a couple people I'd like to bring up on stage and help me MC that thing just to kick off the first one. That's it. That's all. Anyway, this episode we did over at Josh Stuckey's place in South Dakota. When I leave White Lake, I go and see Connor and his buddies Lucas and Josh and Chris and their kids, and it's like I look forward to the last part of my trip. Usually you don't look forward to the end of a trip because it's over. I look forward to the end of my South Dakota trip because I end up over there with these yahoos, these Jack Pine savages that I call friends, and we just knocked the microphone on, and I don't remember what we talked about. I really don't. So, this one might be, I don't ever rate any of them PG, but this one might be explicit. I don't know. Good luck. I didn't feel like listening to it ahead of time. Sorry, Connor. You did tell me I was supposed to. I'm going to take that chance. Oh, God. Maybe I better not. Love you guys. Love you girls. And I love Mucinex more. Let's just get this show on the road. I'm in South Dakota. That's as close as you need. What is this behemoth? What is this?
That's Piss Jug.
Oh, that's the dog's name?
Yeah.
Piss Jug.
His name's Theodore.
Theodore. He's an English fat dog. English bulldog. I'm gonna start this podcast off really stupid. I've seen some of the fattest dogs I've ever seen in my life this trip. Connor took me to a friend's house to see
a dog.
Huh?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Connor took me to a buddy's house while we were cruising around yesterday, waiting to hook up with some other guys. And he says, my buddy got a new lab pup. I said, well, let's go see it. And it was, 12-week-old pup in a little kennel. It was cute, friendly, not bitey, actually well-behaved.
Yeah.
And then this, what do you think that lab weighed?
Last time I think we did an official weight, we weighed Jake on a bathroom scale without and with the dog. And I think it came out to like 128.
120 or something.
120
Jake lost the bet.
Yeah.
It was at least a buck.
120-pound lab that's probably only 20 inches at the shoulder.
Small polar bear.
Small. I didn't even know it was a lab. I thought it was like a Great Pyrenees that they shaved. Like, what's it
About accurate.
You guys are just you're what we call Michigan Jack Pine savages. This is like my second home. It's the most unruly, uncouth, fun bunch of people I've hunted with since I was in my 30s. Now, what's the lineage here?
Okay, so
Connor's the non-native.
I'm the non-native. I'm the one that's from Central Virginia.
Yeah.
I moved out here for college, but my senior year of college, I was looking for a roommate or whatever. I found a guy named Jake Weir, who was from this part of the world. We're in southeast South Dakota. So I used to come down and hunt with him and all, and he grew up in the same section as Lucas here. And
We refer to it as sections.
Section ground.
same section ground.
1 mile.
Neighbor. That's neighbor.
It's a half mile, more than that, 3/4 mile away. But we started duck hunting together and all, so moved around for work quite a bit, and then I settled in this area, and that's how I really kind of got in with this crew, and that's how we started hunting together.
How did you guys accept him when he was from Virginia?
We didn't like him one bit.
Yeah, trying to put words to it. I don't.
There has to be a thing like, really? You know?
Jake just kind of snuck him in on us, and we didn't even realize it. And then Jake stopped hunting, and he kept hunting.
Well, here's the thing.
So you didn't even probably know he wasn't from here for a while.
Oh yeah, the accent didn't give it away at all, y'all.
But we let him in because he was really good on a duck call.
Is that
When we went to duck hunting, and Connor was pretty good on a duck call, so we let him slide.
The funny part is you've heard this now a couple times. There's no proof of it whatsoever.
And then, Chris, you're born and raised here. I'm not. I went to Josh. I'm looking at.
I'm way better looking than Chris.
Noah's dad.
Noah's dad.
I'll give you that. He's taller than you, though.
Well, that's true.
You're born and raised here,
Yep.
and
Yep.
You're-
Born and raised. Moved
Yep.
about 2.5 miles down the road.
so I mean, like, where your dad's place is, Lucas, is that where you were raised?
Yep.
And
Raised
then
there.
Chris, you're Minnesota.
Northwest Minnesota.
How'd you let that in?
Well,
Oh,
we haven't
isn't that a
completely
blue plate?
He's a
accepted
blue
him.
plater.
I mean, I thought that was like a non-negotiable.
He switched his license plate pretty fast, I
Chris,
guess.
what year did you move here?
2007.
So there's like a 20-year like statute of limitations on that. So we kind of look the other way now.
He's got 3 years to go.
My last day.
2017. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
screwed. I'm sorry.
My last
I'm
day
sorry.
of college, I had the trailer loaded, and we left. When we got out of class, I went to South Dakota that day.
That's it. Why'd you want to come here?
I love pheasant hunting.
Pheasants,
Well, they got
walleye.
pheasants in Minnesota.
Not in Northwest Minnesota.
No, they got grouse.
Yep.
Well,
Woodcock?
Ron, they got pheasants, but they don't have cock over there, I heard.
They're all just regular pheasants.
Yeah. They're not the big ones. Like
And
we
Noah's
got.
here. Noah, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
What year's high school are you in?
I'm a sophomore this year, so
So if anybody's listening and they want a nice country boy son-in-law, I hear that they arrange marriages here. Is that true?
If you go in the colonies, it'll work out.
How much land are we talking?
Well, what would you want for a dowry?
I can't be
I
speaking.
mean,
on
do they
this-
have to have a section?
I can't be speaking on this topic. I'm already talking to a girl.
She's not gonna listen to this podcast. This is nonsense.
You also assume anybody knows what a dowry is.
You can be
That's
single
right.
for 4
You gotta
quarters
remember,
of
I'm old
ground.
enough here to be everybody's dad and Noah's grandpa, and
That's true.
I'm old. I just turned 67.
You're actually older than my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
I could
Better
kick his
looking,
ass. Although I didn't do that good in Vegas. Thought I was going to go out there. Now, I want to get go a little bit round robin, but not, you can jump in and pick up. I want you guys to pick on each other like you always do, like we just did for the last 2 hours while Josh was deep frying cheese curds, wings, and French fries and everything else. I started coming here to South Dakota when you guys were probably in diapers.
89.
88.
91, 92,
Man,
you know.
I gotta go see what the
Well,
dogs
I mean,
are
some of you
barking
probably wore diapers longer
Yeah, it
than
took a
others.
minute. I mean, we're not the smartest out here, but
And I saw coming from Michigan, where we had some pheasants in another part of the state that I live in. But I came from Illinois, Chicago. Don't hold it against me. But we
Who's from Chicago?
there's a birth certificate that verifies that. Evangelical Hospital on Peoria. The state ran put and takes. Yeah. So the state released birds on like 3 different big properties, 2,000 acres, and you had to apply for it, but you could also go to will call line because inevitably when someone gets a permit, someone's sick, someone's got a problem at home, and being a bunch of 18-year-old kids with beer we bought in Wisconsin, we would get in line. We would drive down to this place, get in line, and we quite frequently get in the will call line and get to go.
So like I fell in love with pheasants as a kid that never saw a wild pheasant.
Mm-hmm.
Then I came here in the early 90s, and it was in an area that it was the opener. It was a 12 o'clock opener.
Back then, yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
which really worked good for the drinking.
It was.
I think your 10 o'clock is still a good number.
It seemed kind of early today with the time change. I thought it was a bit ridiculous.
It did. But we saw pheasants, and we were in like Bonhomme County,
Yeah.
and we never saw another hunter because that's not where people would go, right?
Yeah.
They always gravitated to Mitchell and West.
Huron, Pierre,
Huron, yeah.
Redfield, yeah.
Did you guys have boom years here? I mean, I know you didn't grow up here, Connor.
Oh,
but-
big time. When
I
I
mean-
was
when you were old enough to go out with your buddies and hunt.
So when I graduated in '06, but when I had first, when I was like 10, 12, I remember being able to drive around. My dad and my uncles, they would pile us all in the truck, and we road hunted all the time.
Just in the back of the pickup.
Yeah, they didn't want to get out.
Is that
and
where you
walk.
learned to put your dog on the back of your pickup tonneau
Yep.
cover?
Yep.
We'll go back.
Yeah, we'll
digress.
circle back to that. Yeah, so my dad and my uncles, they'd pile us into the truck, and we could drive around a mile section of our farms.
Like a mile,
Yeah.
east, north, southwest.
And there was myself and my brother and two of my cousins and my dad and my uncle, and all of us kids, we could limit.
Just driving to...
Yeah, and all we did was drive the roads. And then they would let us out, and we'd walk a waterway.
Well, they
here
probably
and there,
sent you guys to go retrieve them, too.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
were
that's why you
the
brought the kid.
hunters and the bird dogs
Right.
back then. But there was when we were kids, there was a lot more birds. I feel like than there is now,
Like,
for sure.
Talking to like Lucas's dad and all, when they would say there'd be CRP across the road, at sundown they'd pile across the road every night.
You'd see hundreds. If you wanted to, you could have went and sat the fence line and pass shot them. Basically,
Just like-
the last half an hour,
Yeah.
just moving back to
Almost
CRP.
guaranteed.
Just kitty corner my dad's there. There's still CRP.
You could just sit
And
by
now-
a foam pole or something, put your back... against
Yeah, and we
the-
never necessarily did it, but they'd always come back from the cornfields in just droves of them. And, yeah, a lot more habitat, a lot more fence lines, smaller sections
Trying to
of
get
ground.
that pop noise.
Small fields.
Yep.
Small fields. Now,
Yeah,
now it's big
we
fields.
weren't Mecca for
So that would
pheasants,
be...
but
So that'd be an you said you were an
I graduated
you guys all
in
the same
06.
age, roughly?
We're all
within a year
Within a
or two.
year or
Well,
two,
he's
yeah.
fucking old.
he's a little
I'm
aged.
closer to you, Ron.
That's why he got a pointing dog.
Yeah.
He can't keep up with the flesher anymore.
You saw how fast he walked today.
So you could do the same thing, just take a road cruise and
Yeah.
take a shotgun.
Yeah, you'd go buy a piece of CRP at 5:35, a half hour before sunrise, drop your limit quick, and head her back to the shop and clean them.
That's something I noticed you guys do. You don't, as much as we're drinking and having fun, the minute we get back, I look at my hands, don't have any blood on them for the last 2 days. I haven't cleaned it. But
You got a phone call.
it always happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, hang on, guys. What did I say when I came back in the barn? Okay, you guys ready to clean that? No, I'm good. That was bourbon, and then I passed. I didn't pass on. I'm not a prude.
That is
South Dakota
actually
bourbon.
that's bourbon made in South Dakota
Oh, that's
with
what-
corn grown
then-
right here in Clay and Turner County where we were
I
hunting.
say that's where the best bourbon comes from.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone knows it's not
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
That and
Kentucky
our hoot
kick
wine,
rocks,
that's what we're known for.
It's not bad, honestly.
Chris is going to give it a pull. What do you think, Chris?
I've had worse. That's not bad.
Is it burning going down?
No, a little bit in the nostril.
Yeah, and this is also the first trip I've been on when people are doing snuff.
Yeah, that's
It's a new
That's
thing.
kind of a new thing.
that's a new
Are you
habit.
trying? I'm trying to bring back
That's a new
smoking.
old
You're
thing.
trying to
Well,
bring back
hold
snuff.
on. Noah's in high school. What
Are
are
you
the
doing
kids
snuff?
doing now? Are they doing snuff in high school?
No, but actually last year when I was at a football game, there's this one kid that, he's a senior, or no, he was a junior, but he basically dropped out of school early. He did not take a hint when I just didn't like him. It wasn't his necessarily, it was kind of his character, but it was mainly just because he was so not smart that you can't have a conversation with somebody that they don't even know how to finish a sentence. And he did snuff, but
Well, wait a minute.
So you think the snuff fried his brain?
no, he just has always had.
Ron, I
it.
think you have to explain that snuff is different than Copenhagen.
Oh yeah. And I was telling you yesterday, first time I saw it was in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I'm like, snuff? What's snuff? And then we like had to Google it. It's like it's something people put on a little. Well, they kind of treat it like cocaine. You put on a little
Yeah, a little bit.
knife blade or your finger. They're like salt and tequila, and you
Snort it.
You snort it up your one nostril and you snort it up your other. And would you tell me it's like having a cup of coffee in 3 seconds?
It's like having a cup of coffee anytime you need one.
So is there nicotine in it?
Well, it's finely ground tobacco, so I would imagine there's a little nicotine in it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, the way he just walk around school, he didn't even care to go in the bathroom, and he put like a massive, like
A pile?
just a pile on the side of his
You know,
hand.
just
and
a
he just-
fat line of stuff.
So he looked like
Yeah.
Pacino in Scarface when he just put his head on the desk. Oh, shit.
yeah, basically.
Again, reference that we understand. He has
Oh,
no
yeah.
idea what you're talking about.
No, what is there? Are you kids? Are most of your friends your age hunting? Like because we're in the country, or are you an exception?
Not really, actually.
It not.
I mean,
not like
none of
over
my
half.
friends. A lot of my friends just don't do that. Their families don't, and my buddy used to, but he just doesn't really anymore because after him and his parents split, they just don't really have guns in the house anymore. So,
Sounds a little bit more serious than we.
but me and my dad take him out all the time.
Yeah, he comes around.
Oh, okay. So he's, but he
yeah.
doesn't do it with the family. But
Yeah,
I mean, like,
you know, it's
how
not
big is the school here, roughly?
big. Well,
They go to the
Yanked
Yankees.
is down different.
we go to Yankton. Well, Noah goes to Yankton.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit bigger than we're actually in Menno School District where we're
Yeah.
at here. But
You're shorting us.
Like
then.
200.
oh well, I
What's in your
graduated.
class? Like 200,
I'd
400.
bet it'd be more than that, probably like 400.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. See, we were 32, and that was a big class.
You need to come to
just
Menlo.
I was
Like
just
18.
Yeah.
How many?
18
Where your high school?
in Menlo, where I
Oh.
live now.
Yeah, but that wasn't where you were in
No,
Minnesota.
that was 200.
No, he's a blue plate.
Right, we've established that.
Yeah.
But Chris can also kind of expound on that. But what's different about nowadays is that farming practices have changed. You know, I wouldn't say it's necessarily fence row across the board, but the little swales, the ditches, the sloughs and all are slowly disappearing. So this area is unfortunately turning into northwest Iowa to a certain degree.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Everything's getting better. I mean, planners get better, cell phones get better, audio gets better.
Yeah.
Don't all that, I
everything's
mean, this is
getting
going to
better.
digress into agriculture because I don't know dick
No,
about
and also
agriculture.
I wasn't trying to
But-
say it was like a really negative thing. It's just
No.
it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
You know?
everything's always gotten better.
Yeah, exactly.
But I thought I heard like on Pheasants Forever podcast where they got these computer simulators and they can tell you what piece of ground is worth planting and what
Yeah.
piece of ground isn't. Mm-hmm. Do people just because it's in a section they're like, well, it may not be worth it. Do they plant it anyway?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's getting better where guys are they control their inputs a lot more. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's his game. So they might not put as much fertilizer on that lower producing stuff and all that jazz.
Right.
Yeah, a
They'll
lot
spend
of,
less money, but they'll get a little yield.
lot of
out it.
variable
Right.
rate,
It
variable
still
rate,
pays the farm
you know,
technically.
GPS,
Yeah.
variable rate technology, planting, fertilizing. Yeah.
Lucas, how small of a school did you say graduating
My
class?
class was 32, and that was
32.
one of the bigger of the time. I mean, they were mostly 25s, and I guess it's about the same.
I had
for
more
even-
people than in my class.
Yeah,
Like
and
in
that's-
the whole class, we had 40 kids in the class.
Well, I
yes.
told you earlier about our friend Abby. She was in her class. The homecoming court was 6 people.
Right.
And there were 7 in the graduating class.
So somebody was left
So
out.
somebody had a bad time.
That would have been me. All right, I want you guys to take a guess on. Now, granted, I'm a baby boomer. There was a few more of us than you guys. What was the size of my graduating class in Chicago? Go ahead, take a guess.
1,600.
That's
No,
that's
really
a lot.
high.
That's
I'm going to
less.
say like around 450, 500.
Okay, Josh, what do you think?
732.
All right,
I'm gonna say 450.
980.
Noah's getting it. I graduated 900 out of 930, which isn't a lot about my grade point average as
gonna
much
say.
as my desire to be in the building. But
Were you
yeah,
still in the era where you guys had to swim naked during PE?
That is true, and people don't believe that.
Noah didn't believe me when I told him that.
We had to swim naked.
Really?
Turns out
Yeah.
it wasn't mandatory. You guys just did it.
Turned out I didn't know my parents sent me to the Catholic school. No, you want to talk about a shock going into high school. Jimmy Karras' sister not walked with us because we couldn't find it, but she was walking with us, and she'd been in high school.
Was she naked too?
No, we're still walking to school, Josh.
Oh, I thought that's where the story was.
Uphill
Both ways.
Yeah,
And
oh,
the
And
snow.
she told us, she says, "Oh, you guys are in for it. Wait till you go to swim class." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Well, you swim naked." And we're like, "Oh yeah, Nancy, sure, we swim naked." The first day we go to swim class, the gym teacher said, "All right, we're doing swim today." And everyone's like, "Well, we don't have our suits." He says, "Get in the showers." So we're like, I thought we were in Auschwitz. I mean, they just threw on the steam showers. I didn't know it was down through the next door. And you just lined up on these wooden benches and sat down. And you're like, all right, first 6 up on the diving platforms. You're like, what? Are you kidding me?
So let me ask
You
you
ever
this.
learn to dive one-handed?
What I want to ask you is, then you wanted to be the slow swimmer, right? Because you had so much more drag than everybody else.
I don't know where you're going with that, Josh, exactly.
I think what he's trying to say is that
Physics. You had a little bit more drag than everybody else.
I didn't.
what years
I was-
So you were really fast, you're saying.
That was 1971.
No, I'm sorry. What grades? It was 9 and 12.
9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, so a good thing that 9 and 10th grade there's no biological difference in people at all, right?
I was a late bloomer.
Well,
Can we
Ron,
get back to pheasants in South
Yeah.
Dakota?
I don't know how we got on this track.
Connor threw that one out there. Well, I mean, going to Noah's point, what would you think if all of a sudden you had to swim naked in the gym?
Call it that.
Oh, I don't
It'd
know.
be a little
Be a
tough,
little-
wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you're not shaving yet either.
I feel like
I don't do much either.
Let's go back to so same thing. Now you and Lucas didn't know each other.
well,
We started working together
so
6 years ago.
yeah,
That's how we got to
roughly,
know each other.
Right.
way back in the day, my dad worked for
My
Lucas's grandpa on the harvest
there was
crew.
some
So
familiarity.
when Paul when Paul O was running the harvest crew, my dad got out of high school and went to work for them. But we didn't know each other until randomly
6 years
I
ago.
started working for.
How early old were you when you carried a shotgun? Because you carried a shotgun the first time I met you. That was 2 years ago.
Wasn't legal to hunt.
I was probably 9.
I remember Dad saying if, old brown jeans showed up, just lay the single break open 20 in the grass and remember where you put it. So I would say hunting wise, 10, 11.
10, 11.
Yeah,
And then-
shooting squirrels in the backyard, younger.
Yeah. And then, but walking in the field with your buddies, 12, 13, something like that? Or
Yeah,
did they-
13.
Did they trust you
Yeah.
at that point?
Yeah.
12 or 13.
If you could reach the gun rack, you could kind of grab a gun and go. That's kind of what it
We were talking
was.
about the other day. His first gun that he used is pretty similar to the first gun that I used, which is a break action 20 gauge with a hammer,
Yeah,
which might be
similar.
the most dangerous gun to
Yeah.
give a child there possibly
Right,
could be.
right.
Yeah.
That's what Noah
But they were
started
cheap.
with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we all
Large
did.
plastic stock.
Every
kicks like
hardware
hell.
store
It
sold
was
them.
an Ithaca.
H&R or something.
Yeah, I don't even remember the brand.
What
We
gun
still
did
got
you?
it.
What gun did you hand me this morning?
The Model 12.
That
That's
thing,
a-
I just about dropped it when he handed it to me. It was so heavy.
Oh, that's the Model 12 gauge, but it's like the heavy duck.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it was
that's
their
right.
Winchester 3-inch.
I
which
grabbed it with my
wasn't
hand.
known
I just
back
about
then.
dropped it out of my hand. It was
Well, you were
It's like
carrying
a
a 20 gauge.
20 today, yeah.
I've got one of those. I can't.
Well, we had a 20 gauge
can't
day.
wait to-
20
yeah,
gauge.
you
day,
guys
yeah.
went 20 gauge day.
Yep.
And what did I do? I missed a bird with 16 gauge.
It cost me 2 birds running that damn gun.
So a cool enough story about 20 gauges. The 20
Smaller
gauge
than
that
12.
I shot my first bird with is the same shotgun that Noah shot his first bird with. My brother did. Every single Stucky male through my uncles and up to Noah has shot their first bird with
With the
that.
same gun.
Break open 20 action.
20
me.
gauge.
Break open 20 gauge with a hammer.
With a hammer.
Yep.
First goose I killed
All,
with that
all
gun.
with it. It's a Ithaca.
Same thing.
Yeah, I pip lined in Spotsylvania County, Virginia. We had laying geese in decoys, and my dad said, he's right there. You know, put that 20 gauge, and so Dad, you got to pull a hammer back for me because I wasn't strong enough to pull a hammer back. I was like,
That's when you know the kids might be a little young.
yeah, I was 6. And he lined me up, and I blew that damn silhouette decoys clean off the head to clean off.
Jeez.
Yeah,
How
he
about
didn't
you,
really
Chris?
believe in the whole law.
In Minnesota, did you
I would
start
say-
early? Because I mean, you got to remember, if this was somewhere else and I had a bunch of guys in their mid to late 30s, there would be no stories like this. This doesn't happen in a lot of places.
How old do you think we are?
Mid to late 30s.
Oh, I mean, my mistake. I thought you were saying
You
that.
pretty much nailed it, other than old grandpa
I
over here.
appreciate it there.
Well, yeah, you're 40 something.
41.
Oh, that's mid to late 30s. That's the same thing. I got a pair of Red Wing boots your age.
No,
Did you start up in Minnesota young too?
oh yeah. We couldn't hunt till we were 12. Couldn't carry a gun, but we got to walk for probably 3-4 years. You know,
You
we
deer
were.
drives and everything
Yep.
too.
Oh yeah. We were the brush dogs.
So you just help by that.
We were the ones told to make a lot of noise and and we were in the center of the woods and chased deer out.
Did you carry pots and pans and everything?
No, but we were told to pick up sticks and bang them against trees and just make a lot of noise. Talk, sing, whatever you want to do.
Noah, when did you shoot your first bird?
Oh,
I mean, the one you want your parents to hear about while we're doing this.
a long time ago. Like,
'Cause
well,
2 years ago,
a
he
long
walked
time
with us
ago.
too, didn't he?
a long
He's
time
a
ago.
sophomore.
Well,
It's all relative.
it's relative to me. It feels like a long time ago, but I know.
School's
like,
that good, huh?
What Connor said reminded me when I first shot that gun. When I first started shooting it, I had to like grab the hammer with the back of my hand because I couldn't do it with my fingers still. So I was definitely pretty young.
Back to the most dangerous gun you can get.
Right?
Yes.
It's a
And
Well,
when you had to
the-
uncock, it was so terrible. Like you're just, it's gonna go
Yeah,
off. It's gonna go off.
As an adult, you worry about it.
Exactly.
I
hate it.
remember the first rooster that
Or
Noah
let's
actually
unload the guns,
shot
boom.
was with that shotgun, and we were at Lucas's place, and that was when Cuddy was still alive, and he pointed Noah's first rooster, Lucas's
That was
old,
that CRP we hunted yesterday.
the old granddad dog. That is
It was on youth
the
opener or something.
the patriarch of the whole family of his labs. That he pointed Noah's first bird, and Noah shot it right in the CRP,
No
just
shit.
to the east of Lucas's place.
Did you get it mounted?
Just don't
Or
give him the
eat it?
pin.
No, I just ate it.
Just ate it. You guys saved some tail feathers and not much else.
Yes.
Yeah, they're right there,
We're,
right by the flag. They're
That's
in
how many
that.
he kills a year.
On the
There's like
horn.
7 of them.
They're in
so
the.
you killed more when you were a kid. So when did you become a shitty shot, Josh?
Yeah, you know, I was
Because you said it today.
I
I've
was
always
pretty much a dead eye until I just pretty much in about my 30s. Right when I met these guys is when I got really
Until someone
terrible.
had to prove it. Like,
Well, hey, there was no witnesses back then.
You know what you think you're a pretty good shot?
I'd say I'm pretty decent.
Better than
Are
me.
you on a trap team or anything? I thought. I heard
Yeah,
you talking about
I'm
that.
on the Yankton trap team, which is, I mean, that was when I actually started to shoot good. Otherwise, before that, I sucked.
maybe I should have said pull today when you didn't shoot at that rooster. You should have had.
You missed it.
he calls. You had 10
Oh,
yards
that little
on it.
circular pond.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
goes rooster, rooster, and I'm shooting 30 yards farther than he would have been. Pulled up.
He's also being a little bit humble. We were out. I took Noah out to hunt sharptails and Huns in western South Dakota the year before last, and I said, "Okay, well, go down that big drainage this way, and I'll meet you up at the road."
Mm-hmm.
And there was no shortage of shots, but I said he better come back with a limited grouse, and sure as shit he did. So,
Oh shit.
Well, I will say this, everybody that is out there listening, we've been very fortunate. Noah has been very lucky to have Lucas and Connor both here because they've known him since he was very young and have mentored him through the hunting. If I'm busy at
Yeah.
work or whatever, I just don't want to go. Or Lucas has got great dogs, Connor's got great dogs, and they've got a lot of experience hunting. And
What about your dog?
Noah's been very, very fortunate to have these two to mentor him
and a
through
shooting
bird hunting.
coach other
Yeah,
than you.
and a shooting coach other than me.
That is nice. That is nice. I'm gonna go around. I do this all the time. Not all the time, but I've done it several times. Let's start with Chris. Chris, do you think you're a good shot, great shot, or somewhere in between, or a poor shot?
Oh, I'm very, very maybe average.
Just like miss as many as you hit? That'd be
Oh,
average.
It's the third shot many times that actually does it.
Lucas, what do you think? Are you above 50%?
Top 90%.
Woo. Josh?
Usually I shoot in the bottom 30.
Connor?
You know the answer to that.
Well, if Lucas says 90 and you say 90,
You can't go more than 92 or I'll call bullshit.
I do have to
I may
say
give you
that
slightly
Lucas
better
and
than
Connor
would
are
you give him
both.
1%?
I'll give him one or
Without-
two.
one or
but
two?
If he goes 95,
The best thing about this is that Luke knows I'm a better shot than he is. I know that he knows that I'm a better shot than he is. But the fact that you said 1%, that's growth. You're getting better.
well, I'm not going to give you 5. Yeah.
I would call it a pretty close draw between the two of them.
You're
Connor and I
talking
had this conversation last night over some beer.
Yeah.
And I've known like 3 people that shoot, like, they hit way more than they miss. And I've hunted with you a few times now. And I said, is that from your trap shooting days? And you said, no, that's from hunting with a flushing
That's
gun.
not a function dollars. That's
Do you think the same way?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at trap, but no one ever taught me. I mean, it was just reflex,
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
point and shoot.
Yeah.
I used to ask Lucas all the time when we first met. I'm like, God, I'm just not shooting that good today. What can I do to do? And he would just say, I don't know, do better.
Yeah. It's just,
Just do better. That's what he
so
told
would
me.
you agree that flushing dogs kind of keep you a little more hyper
yeah,
vigilant?
it's got to be reflex versus stopping and thinking about
Thinking
it and
about it.
wondering when it's going to jump versus it just jumps.
Like being ready
say-
Yeah, you just got to be always ready.
100% of the time.
Yep.
You have a little bit.
I'm a much better shot by myself because I got pointing dogs.
Because
Yeah.
you have
I
no
can-
witnesses?
I can,
Me too. Me too, Chris. Me too.
but
I
I
hit
can
them
walk
all
up.
the other day.
I can walk up. Dogs pointed. I'm all prepared. Bird flies away. Not these crossing flyby shots. Where with a line of people.
So you need them to be straightaways.
The success is much better.
Yeah, but that's hard too because you end up hitting them in the ass if they're
But you don't shoot at the breast. You don't have to shoot BBs.
no. But you got to find.
You got to find the
gotta
bird
find
that
a
you lost
bird.
tonight.
Well, yeah,
Well,
the,
like
dog,
you said-
the dog was down by Josh. I watched it run away across the corn stalks tonight. So
Yeah, I wish your dog was up there near you because that would have been an easy chase down.
yeah, it was.
Fun one to watch too.
I know. I love when you get to see. You don't get to see it often.
Yeah, that's
But
good
you
goose hunting.
Get
Field
to see
hunting.
that race going on.
I
Like
pressed the beep.
pheasants run.
I,
anything.
I pressed the beeper, and yeah, Josh is pointing downward. She's down here. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, put it this way: when I pull up on a bird, it's the same kind. You expect to hit it.
Yeah,
You don't expect to
That's
miss.
what I said to you last night.
Yeah.
I said I expect to kill.
I expect to kill every bird I shoot at.
Maybe
Me
that's
too.
just it. Maybe it's just a mental thing.
It helps.
Oh, I definitely think it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
How do you think you shoot, Noah?
Well, okay.
There's a pause. Yeah, I can hit pause and we can re-ask that question.
I'm great.
Go ahead.
All right. So, the best way I can try to explain this is trap because most of my shooting experience is from trap. But if we're just practicing at the range, like it doesn't even matter. I'm just shooting with my buddies.
You mean no pressure?
Yeah, no pressure, and you're not really thinking about it. You'll shoot 20, 25, whatever. But then when I'm at state, it's like not as good because you're just thinking about it too much.
You're thinking about missing.
Yeah, but
That's got to be it, right?
if we're hunting out here, I just don't care, and I'm shooting to have fun, and you hit it. But the moment you start getting mad about it and all that, and you just get in your head, that's when you start to miss.
Get the yips.
Yeah.
Well, I've said that to you before. So just shake it off, man.
Just shoot it.
Nobody cares. Just
Right. That bird's going to get shot next year or die anyway.
That's why my wife doesn't ever want to go hunting with us because she's like, oh, everybody's such a good shot, and I feel embarrassed that I miss all the time. And I said, babe, I've been hunting with these guys for 10 years. I miss all the time, and they still like me. It's okay.
So it's unanimous. Josh is the worst shot. Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. Hey.
No, I'm right next to you. Then I'm like 1% up from you.
But Ron, the reason why I'm not that great of a shot is because I don't shoot that much because I just want my son to be able to shoot them all. I'm just a great dad, really.
he didn't exist for a long time either.
But I was thinking about him.
As a young
In the
man,
future.
you said, "I wonder if I don't ball hog this, my
But
son will have more
Ron,
opportunity."
You gotta leave
remember?
some for
Hey,
stock
do you
out
guys
there.
remember? I said I was the perfect shot back then.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And everyone here has.
I didn't start missing birds until I was in my 30s.
Everyone here has a look of mystery on their face right now.
You said the last
Well, if
night
it ain't a true story, it should be.
Yeah.
about the flushing dog thing. It's like, yeah, you are become a better snap shooter, but you watch Ozzy, you watch Luke Stomps, you have the little tells that something's getting ready to happen.
Right. It's not literally a boom from behind a door.
Yeah.
But that's why, like Chris, you've got short hairs.
Yep.
So, in that regard, we both have pike pants on and we both have, German boots. So we're both a couple of dumbasses.
Yeah, you got both blue plates too.
We both got blue plates. History.
I got a lot of German in my blood too, I guess. So
I think you get relaxed with the pointing dog because yes, there's something that could come out of your feet.
Sure.
But you're kind of your thought process is when he goes on point, I get ready. But when you're walking with a flushing dog, you got to be ready. Can't be looking at your shoes. You can't be,
Nope.
"Ooh, where's the-" No, you got to be ready.
I get ready to run.
Well,
Dog goes on point.
Let's talk about that today. Okay.
How to hold the line
Connor-
when you're pushing a piece.
Connor had explained that I was busting your balls, but when your dog is on point, you're going, whoa, whoa, whoa. And
Yeah, he should know better, but he's a 3-year-old and he wants to creep.
But is he relocating or is he not holding point because he'd rather? Do you think he wants to bust the bird, or do you think he's relocating? Because I know dogs that hunt.
He wants to
dogs
bust
that
the
hunt
bird.
pheasants a
He
lot.
wants to bust the bird before he's a jelly Nelly.
Okay, so it wasn't that you were just because listen, I've judged a lot of tests.
What's a jelly Nelly?
Jealous Nelly.
Oh, jealous Nelly. Okay, gotcha.
And he might be thinking, "Oh, them labs get to flush. Maybe I should too." But
He wants to get it before someone else does.
I've judged a lot of pointing dog tests, right? And we don't want the handler to say anything. It's going to take a point off because we're assuming the dog needed that obedience command. Where most of the time people, for some reason, pointing dog people get into habit of walking up to the dog and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're naming pointing, right? Like the dog's already pointing.
But
Now, if the dog is moving, and I'm just assuming this because I had a good pheasant dog, believe it or not, once upon a time. Great, so funny. But he just relocated on his own, but it was never to bust the bird. So you've had some experience where if you don't whoa him, he will get to.
well, there's no telling how long that bird's gonna hold.
Well, that's true with pheasants for sure.
I mean, it's just I don't know if he's 2 feet from that dog or that bird, or if he's 30 feet from that bird.
So would you prefer him to be, once he establishes point, would you prefer to get in front of him and look for the bird, or would you rather trust him?
That's what I do.
You do.
I would like my older dog. He will lock in. I can walk around in front of him,
Right?
and he will look at me and then look to the side.
And look, it's over there, or
Yeah.
it's here, or it's up ahead. You just look at
Yep,
your
he will
step.
hold that point.
So this
no problem.
dog's pointing instincts, this is me being a pompous judge, is not as strong as the other dog's pointing instinct.
Correct.
Because if they're strong, I mean, even that turd I got named Tagus, when he points, you could go take pictures of him.
Yep.
Right.
He is just not going to take a
Locked
step.
Now,
Now,
my older dog's that way. This one, I think he's just lacking a little confidence.
okay.
Just to be sure.
Is your older dog able to be released, like to move forward? Can you say easy? Because that's a
I
test
guess
of a really good dog. When you can give him the okay, but it's not okay to flush.
I've never
It's
tried.
okay to get
Yeah.
another 10 yards or whatever.
I've never tried that. I've been in situations where we walk in. We're all kicking grass right in front of him, and he will take 5 steps, walk behind us, and then lock up again. Basically, no, he's behind you guys, dummy.
Right.
We turn around and the bird flushes. We
Right.
walk past it. I mean, just
It's also nature of the bird because I hunted Chris out on prairie chickens, and it's a completely different game. They lock up. There's no question.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a
Because
confidence
pheasants
thing.
are not a. I got one. Pheasants are.
Buddy.
It's a
Except bright green
It's a
ones.
confidence. It's a confidence thing.
Them grain belts again.
I just don't want him crowding birds. Is what
Right.
I'm trying to
Right.
not creep up to get just to
want
be
him-
sure.
yeah.
If he gets a scent, good enough. Let's go see it though.
Right. So you're reinforcing.
I'm
with
trying
it.
to.
But do you think are you naming, what I'm saying is, are you naming creeping?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like people that teach a dog to heel. You see him pull it back and say, heel, pull it back, heel. You're naming pulling.
Right.
The dog's like, I don't know why when I'm pulling and having so much fun he says that word heel, but I'm going to pull some more.
Yeah.
So I was wondering
Yeah,
if you named. Yeah.
It's just, hey, wait for me to get there because I'm coming. 'Cause
Right.
I usually let my dogs range more than I should.
Well,
More
if
than
you're by
most,
yourself,
more than
pheasant
most,
ground, yeah.
more than most of you guys enjoy.
For what we're hunting here, I agree.
Yeah, I like my dog to stay pretty tight.
My favorite moment from the day was which dog was it went on point in that one? Well, we watched a lot of spots, but one of the dogs went on point. And I said to Ozzy, "Let's go ruin this pointer's day." So,
That was Doc. And there's times, I mean, he locks up solid.
How does he do with flushing dogs around him? Does that make it harder for him? Or
I
not
don't
enough?
really know on
It's
him.
today.
My older dog, it doesn't bother him a bit.
Doesn't bother him.
No, it bothers the hunters more than it bothers him.
Yeah.
Because they'll get him back. It's like, what? He goes on point, and then the
We
labs
get up
all
there,
come up there, and then the bird flushes. You know, when we all get there.
Well, you know, Ron, my pointer has
Yeah,
been,
you got a wire hair.
my wire hair has been raised around Lucas's labs the entire time I have hunted her has been with flushing dogs. And today
doesn't
I
range.
didn't see her, but she was over at Lucas, and he goes, "June's on point. She's on point."
She just learned to work close like the other dogs.
She
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 just
does
doesn't
work
range
very
like a
close.
GSP
She
or
works
something.
very
Right.
close for a pointer for sure. And we just had
Now,
a
what about if
conversation
you went
about
out
the
to
other
chase
day.
prairie grouse? I mean, will she open up?
A little bit, but I've only taken her once where I was
Yeah.
there.
So there's not a lot of
Connor
data on
Connor took Noah out for
Did you
grouse,
take-
and
did
they
you
did,
take
and
the
he
dog
said
on
she
Noah?
she
Yeah.
could have done a little bit better, but
She did.
she's
point
young yet.
birds,
She's
though.
only 3.
She did point birds though.
Yeah.
That's always been something that I found kind of interesting was why some dogs react differently when they see birds. Like why some dogs
Or when they
point-
smell a bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, or why some
That's
dogs
just
run
development
away.
over the last couple hundred years.
also, when I had Noah out there, we were hunting my friend's ranch out by Newell, and you know she had been there the year before, but that is a completely different scenario that she's ever experienced. Where
Yeah.
you're a calf deep, grass compared to. The shit we hunted yesterday, excuse my language.
Yeah.
Oh,
we shit and piss and all that. We can say that.
But
We just
whereas-
don't say.
Well, that's what this is.
I think you kind of did.
It is a sensitive microphone.
This is
I'll
my-
have Jesse edit
I'll
that
fill that in.
This is my 3rd or 4th day pheasant hunting this year.
This year.
I mean, I've been.
Busy
I
working.
well,
Oh, he's been hunting.
he's been
He's
grouse.
been hunting elk,
I've been
hunting
doing-
Montana,
oh.
hunting deer.
I've been doing a lot of grouse hunting, so the dogs range.
You've been out west.
Yes.
Yeah.
I let
What's
them-
the
I let
range?
them-
What's the range out west? That's got to be hard for him to go that. And then
100
back.
yards is pretty average.
Oh, I was gonna
Oh,
say
that's
quarter
not
mile.
big for. Yeah, that's not big.
No,
for a lot of
I
people.
don't. I see guys across the road. They let their dogs out, and that thing runs a half mile
Yeah.
up and back.
Yeah.
And
We
the
talked
birds
about
are all
that last
fast.
night.
That's what
No,
I pictured yours doing.
But no, I mean they
Free at last. Free at last.
average. I
Swanson
mean,
just trucking up behind him. I'm coming.
when I say 100 yards, I mean they're 100 yards to the left, or 100 yards to the right, or 100
Casting
yards
in
out
all
front.
different
They're
directions, yeah.
wherever they go.
I like a 100-yard dog. I know.
we
John
get
and
into
I were-
we get into pheasants
Yeah,
here. That's with a group of people.
Yeah.
That's
It'd be fine if you
That's
could
not
like
great.
target hens because they tend to hold. But obviously that's
Yeah, too much sometimes.
a 100 yard pheasant hunt myself. I let them do it.
here it is.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
but
no.
what I was going to say is that by myself, and we talked about this last night, that I've allowed my springers to have some bad habits because I hunt by myself probably 80-90% of the time. And when Ozzy, I know he's on a bird, I'm trucking after him as fast as I can. You know,
Like I
and
said,
that's
you
not
start running.
Yeah, start running. It's not conducive when hunting with a group of people.
Right?
Well, I'm like, it is, so we shot a handful of birds today, but every one of us, or at least us, could have went out with their dog or dogs and got their 3 birds
Nope.
in quicker and easier time
You said that
than we could
yesterday.
shoot a group. It
Yeah.
just put your dog into the wind and follow it.
Somebody said
If he
it-
speeds up on a bird and he's birdie,
You speed
get
up.
up there.
Right.
And you'll get your 3 in no time.
He said
Yeah.
if you could go out, if you have to go kill a limit of birds, I'll be by myself. If somebody said,
Yeah.
hey, it's gonna be you get $1,000 if you do this.
I don't want 10 people walking side by
No.
side through a piece.
Right.
You'll get some,
Right.
but your percentage is never going
Right.
to be as good. When you got your dog within 20 yards, you're going to kill almost everything.
Or when you got
Yeah.
one dog per
Yeah,
person.
because those birds
It's
could be focused on the 2 or 3 or other 4 people in a field.
Yeah.
Within their natural thing is like, oh, I hear something. And it's just you and your dog. I could see that.
Yeah. And a good, it's usually calm day is windy here, so you
Yeah.
get a little noise out there.
So
Your dog can get in on them.
You guys have obviously shot a gobload of pheasants. Like, where's the wind cutoff where you like think, oh, this is not a good day? I don't even know.
Never.
Or never.
You just do
pheasants.
it.
You get a snow blizzard with 40-mile-an-hour wind, get out there. It's the best.
What I tell
God.
What I tell you today.
Your dog doesn't affect your dog when he's in cattails. There's no wind down there.
Complete opposite.
I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that.
Complete opposite of grouse hunting.
Yeah, the best. My favorite day of the year is a late on a Friday blizzard because everybody knocks off work early and we go just go
Get
to
in that
cattails.
heavy cover.
You don't worry about the drive home. You just worry about.
Well, that's future cars, bro. He's a great guy.
You're gonna have
That's
to
the
drive-
tow truck driver's job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you keep ropes in pickups.
Yeah.
And then what about for heat? Is there a? I mean, I know it's almost impossible to condition. I guess people hunt with flushing dogs in Arizona, but I mean, it's a dry heat.
Early season around here can get pretty warm.
But I mean, do you find the dog will work the same, or is it
Oh, no, yeah.
No.
Quick,
They
short
gas
pushes
out.
is what you
Yeah,
mean.
they gas out.
like some of the things we did today, like a little
Per piece, you would have want to break after. Whether
Right.
you find a
maybe a
water
10,
hole
20-minute thing, stop?
or just
rotate-
get them in shade for
rotate
10
dogs.
minutes.
Because I thought
Yeah.
we walked long yesterday with your labs in Ozzy.
Yeah, that's a walk in the park. But you,
Your partner was tired,
It wasn't for Ronnie.
but I did go block. I did make the extra.
I'm surprised you got around
It
there.
was because he said it. I'm like, oh, I can't.
I said, if you get extra time, and I had to stop for Connor and that thick stuff and let
Right.
him catch up.
oh god,
So when I got to the truck,
did.
I walked the road and
I was blaming him about that one.
Well, that's what I said when my dogs were so tired on that first push. That low bottom grass was so thick this year from all the rain. It's almost as bad as cattails for them.
It was like walking through a burlap sack. It was horrible.
Like,
like
so
they're
they're
not
swimming.
getting any traction on the ground. They're like you said, swimming.
They're either
It's-
trying
They
to
gotta
get
bounce.
under it or they're trying to bounce over it nonstop.
and that takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
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 But I think the second day,
It'd be like asking us to jump
Yeah,
over it.
yeah. Ain't gonna happen.
the second day of the opener this year, it was 82 degrees. I didn't even go out that day.
Yeah.
Don't.
So you would just like screw it. There's
No.
going to be better days.
Or you
me-
wait for the last hour in the evening.
Take a walk.
And yeah.
65 degrees
That's pushing it.
is the absolute cutoff for me.
Yeah.
If
Really?
the sun's out, like there's no clouds, I ain't going.
No.
It's that grass is so hot down in there.
Yeah, it's always,
It's crazy.
the best analogy I've heard is in that grass is like doing jumping jacks in the attic. There's no airflow.
At 10 degrees, when you
You
feel the
I
back of
never
your neck
think of
get
that
hot,
because I was blaming Tagus out in North Dakota because there is no tall grass. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, he's just not heat tolerant. But we can't picture out what it's like down there at the ground where the sun bounces off and there is probably a heat shielder or something down at the ground level. Not a heat shielder.
Yeah, even if you're taking a break, get them to a soybean field edge, get them into the breeze versus
Yeah.
out of even foot tall
I did
grass.
it. I did it in Montana this year. I had the 2 young ones out, and it was getting warm. It wasn't terrible, but their tongues were hanging.
Yeah.
I was sitting there. And, now we get some little water squirt on their ears, and I actually dug down in the grass a little bit, dug up the dirt. That dirt was nice and cool.
Yeah.
And started pushing their front paws in it.
When
Just trying to help cool their paws.
I hunt my friend's ranch, I know where there happen to be a couple stock dams, a couple water tanks, and we'll kind of make a little beeline over there real quick,
Isn't that
Yeah.
a
It
good
feels-
trick to use like alcohol on their pads?
I heard that, but I wouldn't want to be the guy that says that's what you do, but I've heard that.
It seems
Good.
like you would drive
Rubbing
pads
alcohol.
out.
Or get them drunk?
rubbing alcohol.
Well-
Yeah.
rubbing alcohol.
Because
But
it
I mean,
pulls the heat out. but-
Their pads, would love to cool off.
right.
They don't throw any sweat.
Yeah.
And I've always, soaked their ears down.
Yep.
And then if you can get in their groin area, if you got
Yep.
enough water. But then they're like, well, how much of this water do I
Right.
use?
If I got
How
water,
about
this-
let's just take 10 minutes and
Yeah.
let them catch the wind?
Well, and it really
Yep.
depends on where you're at too, because I was out west for work here like a month or 2 ago, and I was talking to a guy about horses, and we were just kind of having a conversation and got into the horse genetics world and that type of thing. And I said, well, my family has always raised Dock Bar and Jack bred horses from the Midwest. And he goes, well, we had 2-eyed Jack horses, and we were in the panhandle of Idaho. And he said, I went out there and I bought one from the sale, and I brought him out here, and he gassed out right away, and he kind of tipped over. And I said, well, you have to understand that you took a horse from the Midwest and you brought him up into the mountains, into the elevation, and now you ride the shit out of him.
So I'll bet the guys that live
so it
in
definitely
Arizona
makes a difference with the location.
They've got to get a little more accustomed to that, I would think.
You would think.
I would think so. So, all right, worst day's hot. I know the best day. Don't tell me 40 miles an hour with a blizzard, because I ain't coming. If you had it's the best.
It's a blast.
That is
Fresh
true.
powder, you can see
That is
tracks,
true.
you know they're in there.
You know what?
That's where the money's at.
Ranella made a comment one time about fun. Fun the moment and fun reflecting.
Yeah.
Fun the moment is a roller coaster.
What's second degree fun, is that what we're calling
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
More like the suck
Hunting.
of the hunt.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Packing out an elk is not fun.
but it's fun to talk about later on.
It is.
Yeah.
You will never
Nobody ever
forget
brags
that.
about a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Type
Like,
2
oh,
fun,
really?
that's the term.
That
Type-
resonated with me so much because
That
we love a blizzard hunt.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right, that's just
They suck, but
It's-
they're fun to talk about.
You get in that cattail stuff and it's impossible to walk, but then you bust 15, 20, 30 birds at once.
that's
Bang
like,
into
that's like a
them.
pinata.
Yep.
Well, I told you
Type 2
today,
fun. Sucks
when-
getting back to the pickup.
when it gets cold, not every slough is going to have birds in it, but you're going to find the one that does, and it's
So
like
you're going to do this several times and be like, oh,
yeah,
and then just go to
And
another
not every
slope.
and not
Yeah.
every slough is froze over either.
yeah, exactly.
You might fall through
when
a
you're in the
couple.
middle of it.
I wore waders one winter because I broke through so many times.
The
We- there's that
cattails,
airy
even when it's
cattails.
super
Then
cold.
walking in waders sucks.
Oh, it's
It
terrible.
does.
It was miserable.
But
I
even
wanted
when
to
it's
kill
super
birds.
cold, there's so much air through the cattails that you'll fall through. It could be
Zero.
minus 10, and you'll still fall through in the cattails because of the air in there.
Well, and yeah, now our season goes down to January, which changed 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
They
you want to go kill
keep
birds?
The same limits?
We had a friend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, same since three. They proposed a 4-bird limit, but they decided against it. You know, but we my dad and his friends come out from Virginia. We always hunt. You know, early December, kind of mid-December.
Yeah.
And we were hunting down here with y'all, and well, I was still living in Brookings at the time. It was a real cold year that year, but the ice on the sloughs, it was consistent but not great. You know, so you kind of did a little shuffle thing across there, trying to distribute your weight. And our friend Gary looked at Lucas, like, I'm going to follow Lucas.
If you don't break
If
through,
you don't break through, I'm not breaking through.
And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to mislead
so
him.
I'm not going to follow Noah?
No, it'd be,
Because that's like walking a plank. Well,
Yeah.
Noah didn't. Now,
yeah.
Noah, do you like hunting in that kind of weather? Or have you done it?
I don't care as long, I'm gonna go out there prepared with gloves and stuff.
You're just glad the old guys invite
Noah
you.
usually
Yeah.
sleeps on the really nasty days.
I try to,
I wouldn't blame you. I think you're onto something there, buddy. Be a gentleman hunter and go into grouse woods on a 40-degree Michigan afternoon and the
With
sun
a, with a
shining.
single shot
The
break
leaves-
action and a pointing dog.
The leaves,
Yeah.
the leaves are all in
Turnpike
color. Oh, you guys wouldn't know anything about color and foliage.
We got evergreen trees.
You got cedars.
I got one in my backyard.
You got one
It's a maple.
Speaking of cold hunts, probably the worst hunt I ever been on was, I remember one morning my dad woke up and he was like, hey, do you want to go goose hunting? I was like, yeah, why not? I'll tag along. And
Now,
I
how old
was
were you?
like,
He was not
This
old
was-
enough to have a shotgun yet, so probably 8 or 9.
well, this was like after the flood. So what was that? When was that? Like,
You're not talking about the
2019.
hunt that we laid in water.
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
that
God.
sucked.
That was miserable.
I was so cold when I got in the truck, it like hurt to warm up. Oh my god.
We were laying in water,
That's just
Ron. It
not
was
right.
Connor and I and Jake Weir
Local dairy
and Trey was there. Trey
No.
Buffington.
What happened was I was leaving Brookings. I was going to drive through Madison. I said, I have A-frames in a storage unit. Do we want to bring A-frames? So there's an A-frame with chairs.
Right.
And our friend Jake Weir, Jake, if you hear this, I'm so mad about it right now.
Agreed. I'm with Connor on this one. It was fucking miserable. Freaking miserable.
And we have these layout blinds that have like a neoprene like tub below. It's a rubber tub essentially. So, oh, those things will put in the water are fine. there was not one of those that didn't have a hole in it. And so I'm not exaggerating, we laid in water.
Waist deep.
Noah was like 8 or 9 at this point. He wasn't even old enough to have a shotgun. He was just going along for the trip.
Just to see what was going on.
Yeah, I was genuinely interested.
Oh, Ron, and this
Ronnie,
is the best. We are
This is
laying,
why I don't duck hunt.
well,
This is why I only duck up by invite on nice days.
here's the best part about it, Ron.
Let's
So
get up early.
Noah's about 8 or 9, and it has been the most miserable cold morning you could ever imagine. And finally, we get these geese coming in, and Connor's on the call. You know, he's just burp, burp. He's going and going, and all of a sudden I look over and I'm trying to peek, and Noah's got his hands out the top of the blind like this.
Try to warm them up.
Just like his hands are cold, and
Trying
he
to get
could not
circulation
lay
in 'em.
still long enough. And we have been laying here freezing all morning, and I was like, "Get your freaking hands back in that blind!"
Don't worry, we killed like 4 geese.
Yeah, it was
totally
all
worth it.
It was totally worth it. Totally worth it.
Jake Weir's fault because we would have A-framed it. Connor would have brought an A-frame.
We already talked about it.
I just want to reiterate it's Jake Weir's fault.
It's
Well,
definitely
Connor
Jake
actually
Weir's fault.
Pre-apologized, but he's still mad at me. Told me.
Yeah.
His name
'Cause we
is
would've-
Jake Weir, and he lives in Freeman, South Dakota. Jacob Weir. It's all his fault.
1723 South Main Street, Agus house this Halloween.
Drop chickens off in his yard.
Lucas, you just went up to Alaska,
Yep.
and there's a rack of moose antlers with a skull on it in your garage. And Connor told me, he says, "Ron, pick it up so I can get perspective and send a picture to my dad." I couldn't pick it up.
Yeah.
Now I'm not weak, but I didn't also want to break.
But
the
you
nose.
are old.
I am old. And what was that like? I mean,
It was awesome. Kind of what you expect. We had 8 days of hunting. We killed it on day 8. We had 5.
why is it always on the last day?
We had a couple more to go. We got the suck. We got the type 2 fun where it rained for 5 days. The wind blew. Thought our tents and tarps were going to blow away. Ended up actually moving spots on.
What do you do
days.
all day when it's like that?
Sit and call. You're there to hunt. Nothing else.
Question-
You can't glass.
It makes your
question-
blizzard pheasant hunting seem. No wonder why you like blizzard pheasant hunting.
Question your life decisions.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but
still
after
cannot-
after a blizzard hunt, you still go home and sleep in your own bed.
Yeah.
And you got to sleep there that night.
Yep, never dry. Me and a buddy went, just me hunting. He came for basically moral support and experience. And yeah, it sucks. You can't glass because everything fogs up immediately, even if you're under a tarp. So you just try to be out there.
Well,
and then
what can you see in that brush?
nothing. If you're going to see a bear, you're going to be lucky if you can get your muzzle up in time.
I still
And
can't
then
believe
so-
you went there without a guide.
Good. Man up.
So did you get dropped off or up a riverboat?
Float plane drop.
Float plane
Yep.
dropped you on the.
So yeah, DIY. Everything we had, we took up.
Yeah, no. Did you have friends that said this is a good spot?
Yeah, I had
You at
some
least had
intel.
an area.
And yeah, I got
That's
some.
not gonna make a moose
Got
show
some
up.
buddies. Chris just took one of them pheasant hunting. He comes down. He's a pilot. His brother's a pilot.
Yeah.
They do whatever. Know a handful of guys up there that fly the area a bunch. Float plane in. We ended up moving on day 7. Felt really good about the spot because we landed and there's a shooter moose on the bank as we landed, and he didn't even move while the plane landed. So we
he's still
unloaded
there?
all the gear. We're bullshitting with the pilot, throwing stuff on the beach, and the moose is just standing there at 400 yards.
We got to wait X amount of hours. Or until
Can't
next,
shoot the same day.
Same day.
next morning, but
3 a.m. is when it resets because there's actually no shooting
And this
hours.
moose just wanted to stay around.
So we set up camp, go back to the lake, have supper.
But this lake is a big lake.
Yeah, I don't know, 100 acres. 100,
right.
Yeah, half mile long, quarter mile wide maybe. And then we're sitting there eating supper, and a cow comes out 304 yards. Another cow comes out. A young bull comes out. And then a shooter bull comes out. So we sat for 45 minutes and watched 4 moose. So we're feeling pretty good about the spot.
Right.
Like, we have like 2 days left to hunt. Now we're going to get one. And next morning, we actually get up early because of no shooting light. We're like, we're going to check full moon, we're going to walk to the lake in case there's one out there. We'll go for it. So we get out at 5:30. I wake up early, get out the tent. It's too dark to see anything. Go back in the tent. So my buddy...
Can't see your hand in front of your face.
Basically, a little more, but...
Yeah.
And buddy gets up, and he just starts getting dressed. I'm like, oh, I guess we're going now. Grab the gun, start to walk down, and all of a sudden we hear a moose at like 30 yards, bull grunting and raking. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
And grab the rifle. He's got a shotgun for protection.
Yeah. That would be Short Pecker.
Yeah, that is
Adam.
Adam, a.k.a. Short Pecker. Never verified that, but that's what the name his uncle gave him at a young age.
Might have been you got into day 13.
It was cold and wet.
And so I'm like, do I shoot this thing if it comes in? Because I assume it's going to charge if it comes. It's 25, 30 yards.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, he eventually caught our wind or scent, and he blew out. So back into the tent, go down, sit, nothing. And about 11:15, all of a sudden he goes, I can hear something, opposite side of where we saw him last night. Okay, well, a cow all of a sudden comes out of the clearing, goes right into the water, starts mulling around. A minute later, this shooter bull in my garage walks out right behind her. I'm sitting in this little tiny camping chair, and I'm clearly not a small guy, and this is one of these ultra lightweight, weighs a pound, I'm trying to slide out of this chair, grabbing my rifle at the same time. This cow is just staring at me like, what is this idiot doing? Short ranges it, 137 yards, get down, and I'm shaking like a dog shit in a log chain.
I was going to ask if you were shaking.
And Adam, who's supposed to be my videographer, phone's just shaking to beat hell. He gets the water. You can see here's the cow, the trees, and I'm like,
everything but the moose.
Yeah. So I'm throwing a leg up, of course. What do? I get a cramp right away. Son of a bitch. Stretching out. And I just you put all this together, months of planning, all this, and I'm just about to shit the bed, it feels like. And, okay, get up on it, finally get steady enough, and I just crack around, hear that nice thud. Moose didn't move. Rack another round. Boom, same thing. Didn't move. Four rounds in a row.
Do you feel you're hitting it because of the
Oh, yeah, you can hear
crack
that,
of the
that
ribs or
pumpkin smack. I mean, just
you get
whack.
Yeah.
You hear the gun crack and you hear that whap. 4 rounds into this thing.
It's still standing there.
It's in the water, like 30 yards into the water, maybe.
Oh, Jesus. You never shoot a moose in the water.
Yeah, that's why I do. So it starts walking. I can see blood pouring out of it into the water. Goes to the beach, gets 3 yards off the water, lays down on a sandy beach.
and died.
No.
Oh, okay.
So, the cow is now coming closer to us.
Please tell me you just put it in a chokehold and choked it out.
So then I grab my knife and run up there.
Right.
No, so we're like, okay, well, imagine it was a bush or a white. You're going to give it some time to die.
Yeah.
He's doing the head waving, getting sleepy.
Right.
Buddy's got a clock on it, so all right, give it 10 minutes. Every time his head starts to drop, picks it back up.
Right.
And I can't stand it. Like, I'm watching this thing. If it gets up, it's going to go into Hell's Canyon or back into the water. So we finally make a move to get a better angle on the shot, and then he tried getting up. So I dropped to my knee, and I put 3 more rounds into him.
Jeez.
Because I shot him once, and then he tries to get up in earnest. So boom, boom.
Holy.
So it was seven
rounds.
7 rounds.
Oh, were you shooting a 22 long rifle?
300 Win Mag, 200 grain. I had one
wow.
bullet that strayed. Other than that, I put the rest in the moneymakers. I
into
tore the
lung.
heart apart. I think I was hitting the lower lung where it didn't have enough to collapse it.
Yeah.
Because I was just
But you even
such
did
a
some
big
heart damage
target.
on it too?
I think on the last 3.
Oh, because
Because I was center punching through the chest.
The last
at that
Baker's
angle.
dozen worked out pretty
Yeah.
so a total of
1,400 grains of bullets later. We recovered 2 of them. They mushroomed perfect. Cracked ribs cage, lungs are garbage.
Oh my God.
And he never.
And he just took it like, it sounds like it's like one of those Marvel, animated, Hulk and things where they just hit each other and nothing happens.
Yeah.
You gotta be like, seriously, sir?
Yeah. I'm just like trying to get short to realize, what are you seeing? What's going on? He's like, you hit it. I'm like, great, I could tell that much. And just sent rounds. And to this point, when this moose walked out, this is day 8, I kind of had a muffed opportunity on day 2 at the first spot. I'm like, well, this moose is going home with me, one way or another. Like, I am killing this moose. So, send lead. That's all there is to it.
And if
You shoot till it's down.
Yeah.
I mean, they say the same thing with elk.
You don't know where it's going to go.
Until that thing
Like,
is
and I have it where
down.
I want it.
right,
Yeah, where the plane picks you up.
Yeah, we packed it 10 feet to a tarp, and then the plane pulled up to the beach.
wow.
So that was our pack out. The longest pack out we had was when we flew back to town from the plane up the dock to a pickup.
I
About
carried my
35.
antelope longer than that last time we went on our antelope
I
trip.
carried rabbits farther than that.
Let's cap the story off with then when you're in town, a grizzly bear stole some of your meat
Yep. So
out of the truck.
No bears on a trip.
never saw a grizzly. We heard wolves howling. That was the only predators out there. So we get to town.
Did you find any cougars at the bar?
No. Girlfriend's in the background, so no. And
Linda.
no, I did lose my phone that night. Different story. So the pilot, his brother of a buddy that comes down pheasant hunts, he loans us an older Ford pickup with a topper on it. Some other hunters used it too, so there's 2 moose in the back. We go to this little shanty of a hotel, and we go up to the local watering hole and spend some money. Next morning we wake up and run into him and goes, yeah, a grizzly bear punched out the window of the topper and drug some of your meat away, a game bag.
Because it was still in meat bags.
Yep, it was all in bags in the back. Oh, shit, that sucks. And so they were flying out. We get the pickup. We go to debone it and pack it. All of a sudden, we're 2 quarters short. So a full front shoulder and the majority of a rear quarter.
Jeez.
So that's like 60, 80 pounds?
I figured 120
It's a lot
boneless.
more
Oh
than
my
that, yeah.
God.
And we flew home 450 pounds of boneless meat.
Wow.
And I figured he took about $1.20.
Damn bears.
Yeah, pay your tax.
Yeah, I guess. Pay to play.
Yeah, I don't. I've been up to Alaska and I've seen. I told you guys the story earlier. You could invite me back if you told me there was rough grouse, ptarmigan, blue grouse, pheasants, huns, all up on the tundra. I'd be like, nope, I'm fine. Ain't going anywhere near damn bear.
Not even the tundra factor. The walking on a waterbed, what everyone has to do.
Yeah.
It is. It's miserable.
Yeah.
The easy walking is hard. It sucks.
The biggest thing for me, and I haven't asked you this since you've gotten back, but how bad were the bugs? Because that is the one thing that I don't think I could ever handle up there.
not
is the
terrible.
freaking mosquitoes.
I
and
wore a
stuff.
net when I was up there, like a full.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I hate
overhead net.
mosquitoes.
We had them we never had to use them.
If it's windy, it's not bad.
Yeah, exactly. They were like big gnats. We never
Yeah.
really had mosquitoes.
Right.
But if you faced downwind, instantly you had 30 gnats on your
You're like,
face.
up your nose and-
If it was 2 miles an hour, if you faced into the wind, it was fine.
Yeah.
And then whatever the hell there was when we were butchering, with the blood on your wrist and stuff, I was swollen up on this whole wrist.
The black flies?
Don't know. Never really even saw them.
Oh,
Probably some microscopic fly that
Yeah.
lives in only Alaska.
Because then the state trooper landed on the plane the next day and checked all our stuff. Landed with a float plane, and we asked him, like, my wrist is swollen up like half inch. And he's like,
that
I
was
don't
just
know.
because your girlfriend wasn't with you.
Yep.
That is crazy. Got one more thing to add. So one of the other exciting things that, Connor's one of my Patreon patrons, and he comes on the Zoom rooms, and every time I go out to central South Dakota, I stop back, and I got to meet you guys like 3 years now. And I have so much fun just doing these, some long walks, but these targeted areas, some waterway, or not waterways, but
What's it do today? Is blue collar pheasant?
yeah, this is, if I lived here, I would have to exercise more to keep up with you guys, because driving across cornfields and bean fields, getting to a spot, surrounding a spot, it is the most fun. But I don't think many people experience that when they come to, because they don't live here.
Yep.
Like, you guys know this area isn't the Mecca where everybody comes.
No.
Right.
But you do some guiding and guiding and lodge.
Yep.
But you're building a place now.
Yep. So kind of done it as a side gig for the, past half a dozen years, just phone rings, someone knows someone, wants to go guiding.
Right.
Take them out, got a few pieces that we own, a few pieces we rent.
Yeah.
You know, like half the spots today were phone calls I made this morning. Stuff I've hunted since I was 12.
Yes.
You know, so we just kind of do that. Kind of switching gears and going to get going on that more as a fall project. And, yeah, we're building a lodge that'll be ready for next season. And got a couple of different lodging options there. And
Well, I'm booking the first one. Okay, so I was asking you when we started talking and birds started flying out of that first ditchway. And I'm like, all right, I better shut up a second because I'm like, this is the kind of hunt I like to do. Just go in small places and, you know, I used to be able to walk for 3 hours. I can't anymore. But I love going to like new places. There's public land all over the place here. You can go up the James River and there's plots lands. And is there any path lands around here?
I have not seen you down this way yet.
It's up north farther.
But there's a lot of places. In going out of town, it is nothing to go drive an hour to go to where you're going to hunt. You know that's not a big deal.
No,
big
We do it
range.
all the time.
yeah.
And to find a place where you could do it as a package or guided or a DIY.
Yep.
I think that's going to be pretty good. Me and my group are your first customer.
Yeah, well, the dates are pretty open right now. So.
Right, and that's why I asked him, I said, is this published on your website? He goes, well, it's going to be updated. I said, well, we got to stay in touch before you let this thing out because that's, I think, what a lot of people want to do. I just went to White Lake Lodge. In fact, you know
Yep.
Corey and Casey.
Yep, went to college.
And
with them.
it's fun. It's a party hunt. It's blocking and pushing, and it's old school South Dakota hunting, right?
Yep.
A bunch of people pushing, flanking, blocking. That's fun. But I've got pointing dogs, and I like to just just take your one pointing dog out. I don't care if I get a bird, as long as I see a bird. But to have a place to go, that's the hardest part to find. It's a place to go that's dog friendly.
But in the habitat you got, the setup, the type of habitat it.
Right, it's not the strips.
It is.
Lucas and his
It
dad
is
have
heavy
put
cover.
a great amount into habitat,
Right.
and it is some of the best habitat that you will ever find in southeast South Dakota for birds, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, you hunted
is so natural.
my dad's place last year. It's
Yeah.
40 acres. We've done more food plots for transplanting trees, moving trees all around. It's
Right.
getting better every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not strips. It's 40 acres, but you can hunt it
But
in
your food
6
plot-
different pieces.
Your food
Right.
plots are an 8-row horseshoe-shaped food plot.
But it's
Yeah,
not like a
in
food
the
plot like
grass.
I'm talking about where you line people up.
Right.
It's just a little food plot there
Yep.
that keeps some birds.
Well, it's meant to feed birds.
It's meant to
you
feed
know.
birds. It's basically
Believe it
a
or
bird
not,
feeder.
Believe it or not, we're trying to make more birds at the end of the day.
Exactly. So, what is the name of it?
Dakota Hunts and Labs.
Dakota Hunts and Labs, just like on the koozie.
Yep, got
Okay.
a few of these. They're free.
Well, also, labs also, he's raised labs as well.
Well, that's true. That's
So
true.
a little slack on that the last few years, and kind of need to get some younger blood in the kennel. But yeah, usually have a litter a year, not trying to push out 5 litters a year.
Right.
So try to do hunting grade dogs,
Yeah.
gun dogs.
And as we know, Flushing dogs are the number one pheasant dog.
You can get a pointing lab if you want to go down that road, which I know your feelings, and I agree to an extent.
But we did talk about it earlier in the podcast too, and I said the first bird that Noah shot was over Lucas's oldest lab that he had, Cuddy, and he
Yeah.
pointed that bird.
I've
and-
never trained a lab to point.
No.
If the bird, late season especially, it's handy. If the bird's sitting there and not running,
Right.
most of my dogs will point. As soon as that bird tries to move, that dog's going to flush it.
Right. Right.
That's all I
But you don't put an ad out pointing labs for
No,
these-
I titled that old dog Cuddy. He got titled as a CPR, your entry
Right.
level pointing lab.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that's an abomination to the breed technically.
I never said that, but Bob West did.
No,
tell me
but
that
it
one
is.
time.
It's a flushing dog.
Right, it's a flushing
but
But
here's the
it's
thing.
convenient
He
when
called
it
it-
But I
points.
do
he
have
called
to
it a
say,
fault.
I do have
It
to
is.
say,
I
as taking a young man out to try to shoot his first bird with a single shot, it was phenomenal to be able to have the opportunity to go with Lucas out where we knew we were going to find some birds, and then have
so
that
for a young
and
person,
have
give him a little extra warning.
And that is
Yes,
a very nice.
yes, exactly.
You got
Like,
young kids. Hey,
a
get
very
up here,
calm
buddy.
dog.
It might be a hen. We don't know.
You know,
but
that's why
and that it was
Chris,
great for him.
Pointing
It
dog
worked-
people do
it
so
worked
much
great.
with, like out in my neck of the woods, with our pointing dogs, because let's say at a preserve in Michigan, you know the birds aren't wild, and pointing dog points it, and you can get the kids kind of lined up. Because
Yeah.
I actually went to a place. Remember we were talking about Rappahannock, Virginia?
Yeah.
They had a youth shoot there the week before we had a hunting test. And the old rules of NAVDA where you had to have a large bird and a small bird. Chuckers weren't popular, so you had, for utility dog, you had to have a pheasant, and the rest could be quail.
Yeah.
And this bird gets up, the gunners shoot it, and dog kind of mauled it a little bit, so we want to check if it's not fit for the table.
Yeah.
Dog, let's be honest, dog mauled it a lot. And so I asked the gunner who, sticks it, I said, let me see that bird. And I grabbed the bird out and it had rubber bands. like horse shackles. Rubber band, because they were doing it for the kids. And they didn't even want the pen raised birds running. But could you imagine that poor bird out there while the week went by? He's like, what's going on?
But so that goes back to where I'm saying, whoa, because wild birds, that bird is not going to wait for you to just that dog. I don't know how close that dog is
Right.
to. I mean, is he me to you, or is he me to
But I
across
wonder,
the shop
like with
here?
the flushing dogs, is it do the pointing dogs tend to cast out, let's say, and then catch some scent way off here,
Yeah.
and the bird can still see you guys come in. I gotta think it's the flushing dogs that ground and pound. That bird's like, oh shit.
I think half it's
Instead
nervousness.
of all the sneaky,
Yeah.
go forever, because you've seen pointing dogs.
You seen Doc
It
today?
can go 300 yards, and it's
Yeah.
How long did he track that
that
dog?
was a long
in
that
the
was a
in the
long
wind
track.
there?
Where if one of the flushers would have bonded, it would have just said, "You're coming up.
Yeah.
You're coming up."
Yeah.
He kept stopping, nose just pointing in the air, and
Yeah.
Connor, you asked,
I said, is that dog confused or just smelling the air?
So he just
Yeah,
sits
I
there.
heard you say that.
He stops and just puts his nose up. He's like, he's up here.
Oh,
And
and
it just-
totally different conditions today from yesterday.
Yeah.
We had dew and fog all day.
Yeah.
That kept the dogs cool, first of all.
Yeah.
And that helps their nostrils. Can't remember how it works with when the dry air is terrible for smelling.
And he went to your side and he went on point just for a second. And I was
Yeah.
like, hey, just because all of a sudden he was on your side,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, just for just a little bit. I thought, well,
Chris is really trying to sell this to us, isn't he?
no, it's just, I mean, that,
No, but listen.
Bust your balls.
he did point that
I'm
bird,
pointer sympathetic.
I know you are.
but he did point that bird too.
He did. I said to you that was a great point. That
Yeah.
that rooster that got up and
I'm just saying, it's
Somebody missed.
I think something happened.
No,
I
we
think-
got that.
Somebody
bird.
missed
No, wait a
that
minute.
bird.
No, I believe there
No, wait a
was
minute.
two
I
16
also-
gauge shells that got shot. That
I shot
moment.
twice at that word.
Oh, that was a different one. I'm
And you
sorry.
guys were all shooting 20s, and I was shooting 16. I will tell you that at one point, it says, does anybody want to block? And I said, I got it. And I took the truck down. And I'm telling you what, driving across a cornfield in a pickup truck is really cool. It's like, it's like a Mad Max film.
Wait till we take the shuttle bus out next year.
Oh, God.
and tear across them.
And so I get up and I block the end of it. And here comes everybody, 5 people coming at me. And of course, this bird gets up straight at me. And I don't think I squinted, but I just kind of tightened up, thinking if my eyelids could stop 4 shot. And
And your fingers squinted too.
Some of us were shooting boss, so you know it wasn't gonna.
he's just going to go right through the eyelids.
Right through your eyelid.
Right through. But everybody was, I was so glad. And I actually think I hit that bird.
I think you did too.
Noah
hit
actually
it when
said
it was-
that I killed it, but I mean,
But I might have hit it after it was
could
dead.
you guys give me one bird at least from the whole day? Because Noah said that I killed it. I feel like I need the credit.
Josh, I'm out of beer and I'm drinking your beer. That was your bird.
Thank you. Thank
was
you
your
very
bird.
I was
much.
gonna say his was the one that flew away. But
Noah assured me, he said, Dad, you're the greatest shot Oh,
yeah,
you-
that's
he
definitely
said
what
you're probably the best there ever was. I know you
Verbatim.
nailed it.
Verbatim.
That's exactly what he said. And he's like, Dad, I love you so much because you're so good at shooting your shotgun.
You're the best dad ever.
He said I was the best dad ever, and then we hugged, and it was awesome.
Now, fast
awesome.
forward though, Ozzy was obviously on one, and you were pussyfooting around for some reason.
Yes, I
Wa-
was.
watching the
I even-
dog.
I even told you. I
Watching
think I
the
saw
dog.
the dog get birdie.
I seen him. I was blocking it. I see Ozzy just out there hopping. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's got something.
Wonder what that dog's doing.
He's super
What is the
excited.
ground hot? Why is he jumping up? Yeah, I choked. I choked like a noose was around my neck.
Two very.
It's like you all said, Ronnie!
I said,
'Cause it
shoot,
was,
run.
it was only my side. It was-
Yep. He flew out your side and he cackled and he smarted off and he just said every word in the book
What,
to
he
you.
flushed 10 yards out?
And
Right
I
about
said
that.
I'm in the 50 percentile with shooting. That's how I am.
And then two very expensive
Hey,
purple shells came out of that
Here's a bird
shotgun.
dog.
Yeah, if you can hit it with boss, it'll kill it. But you still got to hit the goddamn.
I noticed that today.
Still got to hit the bird.
It's a whole.
What I hit went great. What
what's
I
the
did
old-
not.
What's the old saying? The Indian, not the arrow. Or,
Yeah,
The
that's what
Indian,
Connor
not
used
the
to.
arrow.
Connor used to tell me all the time. I said, "Man, what do you think? Maybe I should need to run a different type of shell or something." And he goes, "I think it's the Indian, not the arrow."
No matter what shot, you still got to hit it.
Last time about the lodge, it's gonna
Yep.
open. It'll open next year.
Yep.
Now you said before you have your dad has a place that people come snow goose hunt at, or they lodge at.
We're hoping we got to regut that and do that. That'll maybe be next snow goose season.
But you got the cabins there.
We do have a cabin, so we do have a
Yeah.
sleeps. What you saw last night. Sleeps
Yeah.
4 to 6, depending how comfortable you are with your buddies.
Right,
Kinda deal.
right. You want to
And we kind of do
have
that.
somebody snoring above you, below you, whatever.
This is the amount of beds. If you want to put 3 guys in there or 6, that's your
That's
call.
up to
This
you.
is what it is,
Yeah.
kind of deal. Yeah, and if you want to do it next year, if you want to do a little DIY mix, we'll work that out.
That's what I'd like to do.
And
Yeah.
we'll just price in, my ground.
Yeah.
Hunt
that
that,
out.
take you out, hunt a little public. We'll put that together here in the near future. And
I have to say, as an outside influence on this, he's being very modest at the accommodations. It's very nice.
I saw the building.
It's
being-
very there.
he took us
You
over
can
there
very
last night.
comfortably sleep a handful of guys,
And
he's
all-
being very modest about the accommodations.
I'm talking
It's
about the
very
new
nice.
place.
It's
The new
very
place.
New place will be nice.
The new
And-
place is going to have bar, dog kennels, cleaning,
yeah,
bedrooms with queen size and full size bed, not
not singles.
army
and you'll get to see that moose. I got nowhere to put it until that's built.
Well, what you said last night was that when the lodge is built, or the accommodation they currently have over there at his parents' place, is that we're not in a high density area,
Right.
But we're 45 minutes to an hour, from Corsica and Mitchell and all.
in North
Yeah,
Dakota.
and
there's-
an hour from the airport.
Yeah,
I mean,
this-
it's
in North Dakota. I drove damn near to Canada, up on a northeast angle.
Yeah.
It was an hour driving away. That doesn't matter. You're just
Yeah.
up drinking coffee.
the nice thing about here. It's a minute a mile. How far you want to go? It's a minute
it's
a mile.
like-
you want to go to central South Dakota? You can be there in 2.5 hours.
You want to go hunt the Missouri River over there?
Yep.
You can be there in
Exit.
2 hours.
Yeah, less. Yep. You can get down to Wagner and Pickstown and Platte.
So the website is the website. I don't want to rush this, but is the website up? Or
It's
should we
live. It's not very accurate.
Okay.
We'll put that on top of my list, and I'll
Okay.
ask you when this comes out. We'll try to have something up there. That
just
makes
probably
sense.
be a week after this, or I can hold it back.
Well, I'll put the girlfriend on the remodel of the website.
Is this Linda, not Linda?
This
Yeah.
is Linda, not Linda.
Linda, aka Calla. She's got a job to do now.
So we can do a little post about it when we get all the.
Yeah, we'll try to have it done soon and
Because people are. This
put
is
some
not
pricing and
coming out west to hunt. I've been doing it for 30 years. Mm-hmm. It's getting more and more popular. I'm like, literally.
yeah.
I see kids coming out of here in their 20s and 30s. I did, but I traveled for a living. I went out with a bunch of older guys. I was like the only guy in my 30s that went out, And there's so many people coming to the Dakotas, north, south, everywhere.
My first trip was in 2000.
And but finding
just-
a place is finding a
Yep.
base is the thing.
Yep.
And then, I've hung out with you guys three years in a row. It's like you're going to get some good intel. Not like where to go hit a bird, but like here's what you do if you want to do this. Here's what you want to do if you want to do this.
Yep. And it changes every year as far as the farming. It was too wet in the
Right.
spring. A bunch of
Right.
lows weren't planted, all that stuff. Drive around, knock on a farmer's door. Are if you're around here,
Yeah.
mention my name.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, born and raised here for 35 years. So.
Yeah, mention his name and they'll run you off.
What
the
about
place.
your name, Josh? You said 4 generations of horse people.
Well,
Horse people are crazy.
Four
Because I used to
generation
stop
of
at a
horse
Stuckey's
people,
restaurant
but
in
horse
Illinois.
people are
Any
crazy.
relation?
So, believe it or not, actually, it was my mother's side that was
Yeah, me
the
too,
horse
Connor.
people. So, it would actually be Koletsky. So,
Okay.
hey, Connor, I would take a beer too. But,
Well, we're out of beer, Josh.
well, I got
So with that, we're going to end this. We're going to end this podcast. Thanks, guys. You guys treat me. You spoil me. We get everything from eggs to relish to pickled. We get food here at Josh's
Corn
place.
salsa.
Connor,
Ron
opens
can
up his
forget
house
to
to me and
and
the
leave
dog.
his lighter here.
And
And
I
we're
even get
so
the lighter
honest
a
that he
year-
gets the same thing back the
I got
next
the
year.
lighter. A year later, I got the lighter. Connor welcomes me to the house, and I get a bedroom. My dogs can come. This is heaven. This is
Good
heaven.
thing about Huron, we don't have to act any different. We can just still call you an old lazy.
Whatever,
Shit.
whatever it takes, I'll call you some dumb fucking kids.
It works.
I love saying in the walk, Ron, you want to walk, you want to block.
Like, do I look like I want to walk? Do you see a look on my face that says eager?
He's got his hand on the
Anyway.
ignition and ready to drive down.
This podcast is called The Real South Dakota.
There you go.
Hey.
See you guys.